As the Moon Boys gather up their goo to show the baby bears what it means to get a real three-finger surprise, baby bulls worldwide prepare for what will be the most dangerous, devastating, and traumatic switcheroo of all time. But have you seen this? After this move plays out in its entirety, will it be the baby bulls crying in the corner begging for their mommies? Or will it be the baby bears covered in their own filth and leaking from all the right places as the Moon Boys shine a light on the true manipulation? And what this analyst says about the market is so big that you might want to sit down, cover your ears, and practice your goo goo gagas like a little baby. This video is so urgent, I don't even have time for a joke. So without any further magoo, you get a new channel, make sure to hit that like, subscribe, turn on those ghost notifications so you never miss these absolutely time-sensitive alerts. As well, if you guys are interested in any bonuses, deals, make sure to check out all the fantastic links below. And as well, in the description, pinned comments, absolute massive deposit bonuses for trading or getting altcoins. And as well, if you're trying to secure your crypto, make sure to take advantage. And without any further magoo, are we on the verge of one of the biggest pump-episodes of all time as Bitcoin has had a nice little dippy-doo? That is what we are about to jump into. Goo goo gaga, the baby's back in town, with Bitcoin earlier today getting its biggest dump since the initial crash we saw back in the second week, halfway through the second week of May, where we dipped our toes down to about 25,000. Earlier, we saw Bitcoin dip its little tip down to the very high $27,000 range, about 27,877 here on with the Bitcoin index, and a little bit different on some of these charts here, basically bouncing at exactly 28,000 on Gemini, on Bitstamp bouncing exactly at 28,000. So Bitcoin had a little dippy doo-dah, but what we saw was massive buys, and we saw those bids get filled. By the time I had woken up, Bitcoin had already had a massive bounce. People were very bearish as this was going on. People started getting very, very turning into little babies and crying and screaming in the corner because Bitcoin dipped its tip a little too low. However, you see this massive wick on this hourly here as Bitcoin got bought back up. So that is very big, and we're going to be talking about that more. But Bitcoin dominance absolutely continuing to skyrocket here, about almost 46.5%, almost, just a little bit off there. That's absolutely very important. Also, we're also seeing the stock markets potentially engage mega boosters to the upside, as we've actually gotten above, even if temporarily, the 21-day moving average for the very first time since the beginning of April. So over a month. This is absolutely mind-numbing. This is huge. And as well, we're going to be talking about some of the reasons for that, but the DXY, again, on the verge of a potential collapse here. This is what we're talking about. Down to at least the 50-day moving average. We saw it continuously. Yesterday had a nice little green day a little bit, but today, again, looks as though we're seeing nice dumpage. And this is absolutely beautiful, just what we want to see. But is Bitcoin being bought too much? Is there too much demand around 30,000? As we saw the baby bears try to liquidate the longs of the baby bulls, are the baby bears simply lacking, if you know what I mean? There are rumors that the baby bears are completely out of goo. They are goo-less, you could say, and they have spent the last 6 months completely gooing all over the baby bulls. But is it about time that the baby bulls have gobbled up the baby bear goo, and the baby bulls are about to return the favor and deliver baby bull goo to the baby bears? Absolutely beautiful. So Bitcoin good to go up after Bitcoin price hits lowest since the Terra crash, which we saw and we just talked about right here back about a week and a half into, or about 2 weeks into May. A wick to 28,000 sparks hope of multi-week highs, but caution remains over thin order book liquidity. Progress had already accelerated to the downside today, and it culminated in a liquidity grab that sent 24-hour Bitcoin liquidations to about 120 million. We saw that here. And we're seeing a lot of Bitcoin liquidity changing hands today. Everywhere a bid wall appears, it gets absorbed. This is absolutely gigantic. And currently there are no more huge bid walls, and there is only about 122 million between 28 and 25,000, expecting to see more Bitcoin move on chain. Now, are we headed for more dumpiness, or in fact, are we headed for some more pumpiness? But before we continue with that, also Coinbase CEO Brian Armstrong saying that Biden administration is sending positive signals on the future of crypto industry in the U.S. Whether or not this is true, whether or not they decide to backtrack or what, there obviously has been the statement that they mentioned that they need to protect the innovation potential of this technology because it represents a huge opportunity where we want to preserve this in the U.S. And that's good. At least for right now, it doesn't seem like anything bad at this very second. So that's good. Even when we saw UST collapse, even when we saw one of the top 10 cryptos and one of the top stable coins just evaporate off the face of the earth, that a lot of people were fearful immediately, like, okay, well, here comes all the regulation. So far, still, we don't see that just yet, and that's good enough for this moment, one day at a time. But Bitcoin price breakout due relatively soon as Bitcoin volumes spook traders here. The largest crypto had avoided volatility on the release of minutes from the United States Federal Reserve's Federal Open Markets Committee, FOMC. They've avoided any serious divergence from already known facts about economic policy, and despite concerns about the anti-inflation measures could lead to recession, no mention of the word recession appeared in the minutes, and even legacy markets remained comparatively cool, citing that they're eerily calm. And again, that's all we can ask for right now. With Bitcoin, as long as we're maintaining these $30,000 levels, and again, there's so much showing that maybe the DXY has topped out and maybe the stock market has bottomed out. Still way too early to tell, but there are some good signs finally showing up. And Gugu Guggenheim's Minerd, again, we covered this a few days ago, saying Bitcoin will drop to 8K. Let's talk about how accurate he's been in the past. In December 2020, he said Bitcoin should be worth around 400,000, and it was around 20,000. What happened next was it did climb to about 40K, but then he said it could go from between 400 to 600,000. And it went to about 40K, went to about 60K. We all know what happened with that. And then he called for Bitcoin to drop to 10,000 back last summer. And it went down to about 28,000 was the lowest. And then at the end of 2021, he said he wasn't even invested in Bitcoin. Basically, the point of all this is that none of his predictions are accurate. So why would his prediction about Bitcoin going to 8,000 be accurate that he just put out? But yeah, Bitcoin went to about 69,000 after he said he wasn't invested and he's out of the markets. Okay, because he doesn't understand what's happening. But now he's saying Bitcoin could fall to 8,000. And what happens next? Well, you be the judge. I'm going to bet my money on the idea that Bitcoin will not go to 8,000. Not financial advice. That's just my opinion. But I don't think that we will see an $8,000 Bitcoin unless the worst of the worst happens. Unless the ultimate black swan plus the crash of USDT plus the entire world explodes or something like that. Yeah, with Bitcoin, as we're still trading on this line, again, if we actually zoom back out of the daily chart, again, still holding beautifully. This support that we had built up back in the summer, and then even as we were climbing above it back at the very end of 2020 as resistance, turned support now, it's still holding and it still looks good. And I think it's very likely that the next big macro move will be to the upside. And will we have to get another shakeout down first or to the upside? Well, a lot of people believe what we saw today was an attempt at one of those shakeouts. And that's why people are getting a little bullish today. Not to mention the DXY just does not look very strong. And every day that the DXY sinks lower and lower, the greater the hope of the baby bulls obtaining the gainers grows. If you're new to the channel, make sure to hit that like, subscribe, turn on those ghost notifications, never miss these absolutely time-sensitive alerts. As well, if you guys are interested in bonuses, deals, up to a $5,000 bonus on Femex or $4,100 on Bybit there. You can sign up with the links below. Only with my specific links are some of these bonuses. And as well, if you're interested in just getting altcoins with the deposit bonuses there, make sure to check that out as well. If you're interested in staking your ADA with our pool, anything like that, securing your crypto with a ledger device, all of it are in the description and in the comments below. And without any further ado, that's it for me.